Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Dead Sexy.
Here we are.
We're talking about dating and love after loss. Much anticipated.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
We're going to just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Because I feel like there's a lot of content.
There's a lot to unpack.
Give me an overview of what it's been like for you.
Starts laughing and crying all at the same time. So when my mom had her stroke, my then boyfriend and I started seeing each other, and he was like my first love, my first kiss, my first everything. It was so tender and so sweet, and it was like I really understood what it was to be loved by someone. But
Look at you.
Also, thank you. It was the type of love that only really happens once in that way, and I said this before, I'm not looking for that again in that version of that, because I'm so glad that we're not together. Although there were a good amount of years that, like, you know, it was the thought of, was he the one that got away? Was he really the one? And then at some point I was like, oh, fuck no. Yeah, we're good. We're really good on that one.
Yeah.
But basically we dated up until my mom actually passed. And then I was single for most of my, I'd say the entirety of my 20s. And that was a real journey because I was hurt. I was grieving. I was lost. I was trying to find myself. I thought I really wanted to be in a relationship. And so I learned a lot through dating. I learned a lot about what I wanted, what I didn't want. But I think more importantly, I learned a lot about myself and where my insecurities were and who I wanted to be as a person, as a partner. It was a really hard time because every time things didn't work out, it really hit me harder than it should have. And I think sometimes my friends just didn't understand why I was so affected by certain things. And like we said, clearly I don't have abandonment issues. So there's no possible way that, you know, if someone that I knew casually or like had gone on a couple dates, if it didn't work out, like it didn't feel like the end of the world, but it was like pretty traumatic.
Okay.
And it didn't need to be. And nowadays, if that were to happen, I'd be like, okay, and fucking move it along.
Right.
You know, so I think that comes with getting older.
I also think it comes with like understanding your sense of self more.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't waste your time with somebody, A, that isn't giving you what you want, and B, if they're like, this isn't for me, and you've gone out with them a couple of times, like, cool.
Yeah, so I think now I date very differently, but I also have, I think, healed a lot of parts of myself through dating and getting to know other people and meeting some incredible people along the way, and some not so much. Gotta kiss a lot of frogs.
You gotta kiss so many frogs.
It's part of the journey. Obviously, it's so different for you than it is for me in so many ways.
Yeah. So when you lose, you know, your partner, your fiance, like whomever, your husband, I would assume, all of the love you were receiving is just gone. So it's like you have this hole in you of what was being filled by love, and you have all this love and like nowhere to put it. I really needed somewhere to put it. Like I wanted to put it somewhere. And so my experience, I started dating way too quickly. Thank God that I started dating somebody, and he's my now boyfriend, who within a couple months recognized like, oh, this bitch is not ready for a relationship.
It's interesting when they see it before you do.
The world saw it before I did.
I think I look back at some of the guys that I met and I'm like, we had such an amazing connection. Like this really could have been the one, all this stuff. And they probably were like, she's great, but she's got a lot going on.
She's got a lot going on.
And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm normal.
Yeah,
what do you
like,
mean?
Sorry,
I'm like,
healed.
yeah, like I've gone through so much loss and like probably some traumatic things, but like I'm fine. And they're like, okay.
You're like, I am healed. What are you talking about? Because I was so not ready and so unhealed. Like I put this person through a lot that they didn't deserve to be put through. I think most people wouldn't have as much grace as he has had for me.
It's beautiful.
I can't picture myself being with anybody else. And because I also think it takes a really specific kind of person to be able to handle being with somebody who has lost somebody that they expected to spend the rest of their life with.
They have to be like really secure in themselves.
You have to be
think.
really secure in yourself. One of the things I'm most grateful for is like his capacity to hold space for that relationship is so great. There are a lot of people who would still feel that competition, which in my mind, I'm like, why would you? Like, these literally ash in an urn. It takes, like you said, a really, really secure individual.
I think a lot of us are really insecure, and that's, I mean, I'm definitely insecure in my own ways for sure, but there are certain things where it's like, I'm not going to compare myself to another person. And if whoever I'm dating decides to go date someone else, I'm like, well, then I wasn't your cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I used to be really hurt by that when I was younger. And now I'm like, I know what I have to offer. I know what I bring to the table. I know my flaws, but I also know where I'm amazing. Not to toot my own horn, but we've got it. We have to advocate for ourselves. I think for someone to be dating you, it speaks volumes in, you know, their emotional maturity and also having respect for you and your late partner.
Something about it. It's really hard to find a dude these days who is secure enough and has that kind of capacity and that kind of grace to extend to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and he was able to see like when I started to become more ready, because I feeling like I was like being abandoned, even though like it was quite literally the opposite. Like this person was doing the best thing he could for me, and we remained in contact the whole time and whatever. Right. He was like really in tune with like when I started to like heal and be more ready.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I don't think we would have a successful relationship today. It has led me to believe that what's meant to be will be.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because every time I've had a breakup in the past, we've never gotten back together. Whereas like we were broken up for a little over a year and then got back together.
I think relationships are so non-linear. I think I struggled in dating because I always felt like I was really normal and I was really empathetic and I understood and I could put myself in someone else's shoes. But there were a lot of things about me that were different. I think a lot of guys didn't really want to admit they couldn't handle. I think financial independence really played a big role, and it was weird to have that at an earlier age and to be dating through all of that. And I think people don't understand. I paid a price for the life that I live now. I lost most of my
large price.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it that way, but when I'm really in a mood, it's like, well, fuck you. Like I lost my whole fucking family. I lost my parents. And yes, I have this beautiful life. I've also chosen to see it that way and make it beautiful and make something out of it, but it came absolutely at a price. And so I think when guys would kind of get to know me or date me, there were parts of myself that I used to hide. You know, I just would be careful of how I worded things or how I would show up to a date, because I don't care who I am. Like, as long as you're like a good human and you're kind and you're respectful and you're like somewhat ambitious, I'd say, and you're passionate about something, like I love that. Like, I don't care what that is. So safe to say I've dated like a wide array of different personalities and like backgrounds and job types and things like that. I've kind of tasted the sample platter.
Yeah. See, my experience is like during that year when we were broken up, I didn't date. I didn't date, really didn't talk to anybody. My whole life, I've never been like a big dater.
Interesting.
Like,
I feel like you've always been in relationships though.
I've always been in relationships, serious long-term relationships. My first relationship was like 7 years. And then I had like a 2.5-year one. And then my late fiance was like 2.5 years. And in my experience, I've known like pretty much from the rip if this was somebody that I was gonna, because I'm really picky and 99% of people I don't like. So, but like right now I can't like picture myself dating or being with anybody else. And I've never been the type of person to like go on dates or, you know, get to know a lot of people. I just can't. This is going to sound really bad. Like I can't fucking be bothered.
Say it.
I
say that one more time because honey,
bothered.
Right,
I'd rather stay at home
yeah.
with my dogs. I don't want to barely know you and go on a date and like odds are I'm not gonna like you and you might not like me. And
you know what it is, it's like I don't mind talking about the things that I've gone through, but to a lot of people it is a lot. I remember once I went on this date with this guy. I was like probably in my mid-20s and I felt very lukewarm about him, but I think I was going through a phase where I just needed to feel validation or feel worth or worthiness through dating. And I fully admit to that phase, you know, absolutely. But we were like talking on this date. I didn't even really like him that much. I thought he was actually quite boring. And he kept kind of pressing like where my family was. I think he thought it was weird that I was kind of evading the question. And then I was like, well, they're dead. And he was like, oh. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And the date ended within like 20 minutes.
You're like, but thank you for pushing that answer out of me.
Like read the room. If I'm not answering, like there is a reason why I'm kind of tiptoeing around because I didn't know how to balance that conversation at that point in time. I was on the phone with like a friend of a friend and we were chatting about something like business related and he was like, oh, like where's your family based out of? And I'm like, it's a little complicated. The graves, thank you. I was just like, oh, it's a bit complicated. He totally didn't he's got it, you know, because we're adults and
that's respect.
That is respect, yeah. But I feel like it's so hard to get to know people because it's like this whole side of me that is very much so a part of my identity and who I am and how it's shaped me. I can speak about it with levity.
With levity.
But I think I worry about how people receive me. And then they probably start making assumptions and judgments. Maybe not consciously, but I'm sure there's something that goes through someone's brain like that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
because it's like, have you dealt with this shit or have you not? I've met a couple of guys where they've lost a parent, and some have dealt with it for sure, and some I think have just completely swept it under the rug.
Yeah.
When you don't address anything or you don't heal, yeah, you carry that. And there's such a deep sadness there.
I think I would be more scared to disclose my history of addiction than the loss of my fiance. I feel like that's a heavier thing. A lot of people don't want to be with the kind of addict that in AA, we're not supposed to say like past tense, but like that I actively was in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's probably a lot scarier for people than having lost my fiance, because with being with an addict or an alcoholic or whatever, there's always the chance that it will happen again. A lot of people aren't equipped for that. You know what I mean? And like, that's another thing, and not to be like gushy or whatever. And that's part of the reason also why my boyfriend like stepped away when he did. But he, you know, in a like many ways, physically and like emotionally and a lot, like he really did save my life, which I think is too much to ask of somebody. I think a lot of people consider the possible outcome.
Yeah.
And especially when you disclose that to somebody, they're like, oh, well, what was your drug of choice? And mine's kind of like the scariest one. Mine is the one that you don't want it to be, that you don't want to hear somebody say. And there's, you know, the potential like life-ending outcome of that. And I think that that's a lot to ask of somebody, and like way too much for a lot of people to want to take on, understandably. So I think it takes a really specific, brave person to just be willing to step into that.
Absolutely. And I think that like speaks so much about like your current partner, and like that's awesome.
Oh, it's so embarrassing being in love.
Love is embarrassing. You say shit, you do things, and you're like, ew.
Because I'm so independent, and I'm like, what do you mean it's been 2 minutes and I miss you? Get out of my head.
You know, I feel like I want to talk about like hyper independence though.
Yes.
I feel like there's this point where in healing, of course you need community and things like that. And as you date as a woman in 2025, it's kind of sometimes disappointment after disappointment. And it's just what it is. We push ourselves so far into hyper independence. I think men also do it as well, because they mask it with like, well, I'm trying to build something where I need to make money and la 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 la. And it's like women are just like, we just want someone really nice and kind, and women's rights should not be on the table of like what should be a good guy versus not. Like,
oh, you are gonna text me back in a reasonable amount of time. You're gonna text me good morning. Wow.
And actually, this one girl did this video where she was like, the time it takes to text someone back, and it's like, hi, so sorry, I'm busy. We'll talk to you later. It was like 7 seconds.
No, literally, we were just talking about this. But I one time had a date planned, and this was like a really long time ago, but I had a date planned with this guy, and we had never met before, and we hadn't really had much conversation either. And the day of the date came, and he just never texted me. And he texted me the next morning. And he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was so busy. The day got away from me. And I just responded, and I was like, totally understand. Life gets really busy. That being said, like, I'm not interested in dating somebody who moves like my time isn't valuable. So wish you the best, but that's not something I'm interested in getting involved with.
And like, what a first impression.
If you're willing to do that when we haven't even met, imagine what you're willing to do when we have. Like you said, it takes 5 fucking seconds. Take out your phone. Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm absolutely swamped. I'm going to text you tomorrow. I would love to reschedule.
Recently, I've been sending voice notes, or I'll just speak into my phone because my nails are getting too long. Texting's getting hard.
It's so real.
But yeah, hyper independence. I think both men and women are going through it right now, and it's just a very interesting time to be dating. I do think, I don't know, maybe this is a hot take, but I did spend some time in Europe over the past couple of years, and I spent 3 months in London, and I was dating a ton. It was a lot of fun. I met some really interesting people, but the bar there is significantly higher.
I'm not surprised.
And I don't know if it was like a stroke of luck that I was meeting really decent guys, but I had one guy who cooked me a 4-course meal and put me into an Uber. I actually, you know what's really sad to admit is that no guy's ever put me into an Uber before. I've always had to pay for my own fucking Uber. I don't know what that says about where the bar is. Like,
the bar's in hell.
And too, like, even just having open conversations, they were just so emotionally with it. And this is not everyone, because here's the thing is that like I got into this really bad habit after being so on my own for so long and just dating all these guys that just were not it, that I just started saying like men suck. And I think a lot of women feel that way, and rightfully so. But
Guilty.
also at the same time, I think I started applying this in other parts of my life. I'm like, the more I speak something, the more my brain makes that connection and it solidifies that. So we can't like undo that connection that's made, but we can create like a new pathway. And so I was like, okay, let me be more mindful of the things that I say. And that's when I started kind of working on gratitude and grounding a little bit more. I know, so woo woo wah wah, but I started saying, you know, dating's hard, but there are good guys out there, because I have a lot of good guy friends, whether they're gay or they're straight or whatever, that I have in my life that are just incredible humans. So with that, I have to trust that my person's out there, and it's going to take me a little bit longer to find them. And I'd rather wait for the right one to come at the right time
Then try to force it with the wrong one.
Exactly. And so after I started really implementing that and like kind of integrating that into my life and like trying to practice it, I felt like the quality of people that I was meeting, even if the relationship didn't really go anywhere, they were really good guys. And I have so much like love for them, and I genuinely wish them all the best. And like we chat every now and then. It's like, I hope you're well. Like, and I genuinely mean it. I don't know. I think that's like something to think about.
Totally.
You know, at some point I was like, am I the problem? Is there something that like I don't know that's going on, that I'm attracting these guys and la la la? Like maybe at some point, because that was the energy I was putting out there. And once I started changing that, I think all of that started to shift a little bit.
This is good advice that I need to take in every aspect of my life.
I think you got to take someone for who they are and where they're at, and that's easier said than done. I've done a lot of work on trying to do that. And I think that we need like relationships in life. We can do so much on our own. Absolutely. Like no doubt about it. But there's nothing like a romantic relationship that comes in and makes you really question and like makes you reflect on where else you need to grow. It absolutely holds a mirror. Let me tell you, I thought I healed a lot of this shit, and I realized, oh fuck. Like, yes, it was also like the other person that was triggering me, and they maybe could have done a little bit of a better job of being supportive in there, but also it was on me to admit, yeah, I still have work I have to do.
I do think a relation 100% holds a mirror, and I do think it provides like an amazing opportunity to grow and to heal those wounds. You know what I mean? I think this could be a hot take. I think that it is exceptionally difficult to heal all of the wounds that come up in a relationship without being in a relationship. And I know it's like you can heal that within the relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
But the reality is the relationship with yourself is not the same as the relationship with somebody else. It's fucking not.
Because it's you don't know what the other person's ever really going to do, even if you know them so well.
Right.
They're another human being with their own things that they're dealing with. You are your own human being. I think it's crazy that people get married, because I'm like, good for you. Like finding the love of your life in a world of how many people, it's like finding a needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I don't believe in a right or wrong decision, as I said before, but sometimes why not just commit and find out?
Yeah.
And see what happens. That doesn't happen anymore, but I think there is something of like, we're going to make this work no matter what.
Yeah.
Whereas these days, the most minor inconvenience, and you're like, I'm fucking out. Or like they shut down, or they're avoidant, or they don't want to have a conversation. And it's like, I might bite your head off a little bit, but like, I'm on your team. Like, I want us to win.
Yeah.
So, hello?
I am definitely a combination of like anxious and avoidant attached.
What a beautiful combination.
I'm so anxious that it causes me to like shut off and withdraw, which is not good for anybody. You know
At least you're aware.
I'm acutely aware of it.
There's a lot of men running around who probably are very similar that don't know that they have that issue.
I couldn't be with somebody who wasn't willing to like help me through that
or hold space for you while you figure it out.
Exactly.
I think giving someone grace and holding space is all we can do sometimes.
Yeah.
I definitely am anxiously attached. It's gotten a lot better, but I think when I was in my earlier 20s, or even up until like 3 years ago, like I thought I actually healed parts of that, and I was like, I'm more of a secure partner, blah, 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 blah. Also, like, I wasn't really with someone, so it's like, you know, couldn't like really throw the spaghetti against the wall and see if it stuck, you know, in that one. I think I'm a lot better now, because I realize we can only control our actions and how we let others affect us. Mm-hmm. And so if this person's affecting me, why? Is it them? Is it me? If I want this person in my life, how do I work around that? What can I do where I'm still not abandoning myself? Am I abandoning myself? What's going on there?
Yeah.
When I'm doing that? Hello? Yeah. Are we okay?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And now at this point, I'm like, my relationship to attachment is so much better. But then, of course, there are moments where I get super upset because I'm human and I have feelings. But I'm also like, if I'm choosing to be with this person or if I'm allowing this, that I have to take accountability for that. Like, I am letting this person make me feel this way. So either we shit or get off the pot. And if we're going to stay, then we've got to figure it out. If this is not working, then just go.
Yeah.
So I think there's a level of self-accountability that people sometimes don't take. And I've definitely fallen victim to that for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be better about not doing that, or at least acknowledging where I'm at and being like, I need to figure it out.
I think accountability can be really hard. I think part of what's scary too is I am self-aware enough to know that like I'm needy. I want attention. Like, I want you to be obsessed with me.
Yeah.
I want your attention all the
Who
time.
doesn't?
And like, my boyfriend has reassured me so many times. He's like, I love that. Like, I want you to be like that. But it's like, I'm so scared that I'm just going to be way too much. And someone will be like, didn't realize you were this bad. Didn't realize you were this fucking needy. Do you know what I mean?
Never. But I get
Like,
it. Yeah.
The
Sometimes
thought
you
of
feel
just
like,
being way too much for somebody. Being so scared to just like let that all go. And this might be a self-love thing, but it's like, how could I possibly not be too much for someone?
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
I feel like after I like lost my mom, I wasn't with my ex anymore, and I was kind of dating a bunch, and I probably jumped in a little too soon because I was filling a void, and I 100% didn't think I was. Duh, because I didn't even know I had abandonment issues.
And we never think we're just filling a void.
I don't know, if I were to give advice to myself, let me phrase it this way. Like, if you've just lost someone and you're grieving, I think either you sink into that or you choose to distract and search outwardly. And I did a lot of outward searching, but I also do think because I'm such a lover girl and I do want partnership and I do want family, I do want all of this stuff, like, it has been so hard to just even be a lover girl in this world. I think sometimes I seem a little too much, and it's been hard to accept myself for that. But I'm like, one day I will find someone who's going to love that about me. And like, because I do love that about myself. And now I know sometimes it is a little too much. I can love too hard.
No, I like staunchly disagree with that statement.
Oh my God.
The right person will not think you're too much or that you're loving too much.
Yeah.
That's like the epitome of why people say like don't dull yourself to make somebody else comfortable. You know what I mean? Your person is going to want you to be just as much as you are.
I think it's just when you meet someone, you just get really excited. And I think that I've stopped getting really excited off the rip when I like don't even know this person. I think it's crazy that people get into relationships after 3 months. I'm like, is that... But I'm like, you barely know this person.
All of mine.
But I feel like with you spend so much time with them probably.
I do.
If I'm getting to know someone, it's a normal cadence of maybe once a week.
My fiance and I, we saw each other like maybe 3 times a week.
But then you live together.
I've moved in quickly. We moved in
never
together.
Had that experience before.
We moved in after 4 months.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is literally insane.
Yeah. That was kind of like a if you know, you know. Like I remember calling my friend being like, I'm either going to marry this person or he's going to be the biggest heartbreak of my life.
He was both.
He was both.
That is, you nailed that one.
I really
you
did.
You really did.
I think it's much probably, well, I don't want to say it's much healthier to do it one way versus the other because everybody's different.
There's no right or wrong way, but I just think hold space for yourself if you can. I think you'll know when you're ready to start letting someone in. Every time I think I have an idea where I think I know, life just has a way of being like, bitch, you thought you knew? And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
Okay, copy that. But I think if you know yourself and you're intuitive, there is that gut feeling. I think it's been hard to learn how to trust my gut feeling because of so much that happens, being overstimulated, all the noise as I'm getting older and I'm kind of more self-aware and like protecting my peace in my bubble. I'm much better at knowing myself.
I am curious your take on this.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the whole like, I'm not super attracted to them at the start, but attraction grows?
It's happened to me a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always give it at least 3 dates. If it's a hard no, then obviously no. But if I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe, that's where the second date will happen. And if the second day I'm like, I don't know, maybe. There's this that I like, there's that I don't. I'm not really sure that's where I'll go on the third date. And if by the third date I can't figure out if I want to still hang out with this person and get to know them, then I'm like, yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So I think the 3-date rule is a good one.
Okay.
Personally.
I like that.
Yeah.
I already don't want to meet anybody.
Yeah.
One of the draws for me is that I think you're super good looking.
Mm-hmm.
Man, woman, they, them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I might get canceled for this, but like I have to think you're attractive. I just do.
Well, no, there's got to be something attractive. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I think for you, it might be more physical then.
Well, it's definitely both. But in terms of the physicality,
yeah.
I want to look at you and be like, I can't keep my hands off you.
You know, it's funny because when I was in like my 20s, I feel like I like dated guys who weren't that attractive. And I think because there was a part of me that felt like I didn't deserve to be with someone attractive. And you know what I learned is that whether they're hot or they're ugly, they're all gonna fucking fuck you over at some point. So you might as well date the hot one.
That's what I'm saying.
And maybe I'll get canceled for saying that. But I've dated some real toads.
Look, I'm sorry, this is mean. Give the ugly guy a chance, and he'll fuck you over worse than any of the hot
Didn't
ones.
Billie Eilish say that?
Probably.
Our queen.
Did you see those new pictures of her on the balcony in like Italy with her new
No.
boyfriend?
No.
Oh, she looks happy.
You can tell when someone's really happy. I feel like, you know,
Agreed.
and they're with the right person for them in that moment. Never
Yeah.
say never. You never know.
Your personality has to be attractive. I want your insides to be as beautiful as your outsides.
God, wouldn't that be like the dream?
I feel like I have that right now.
I love that. And he communicates with you too.
There are men out there that know how to communicate. I think it takes a very evolved
Yeah.
man.
I think the one thing I'll say, like dating after loss, take your time or don't. But if you're looking for something serious or something more concrete, do the work. Do the work. Just not for them, but for yourself, so you can show up as the best version of yourself in that moment. If you've done the work where there's self-awareness or whatever, like I have so much respect for that.
I agree. Look,
Yeah.
I'll never judge somebody, but I learned from experience, take your time, you know, don't jump into it because you could really end up hurting the other person. And I think most people aren't going to have the kind of grace that was provided to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then you could potentially ruin something that could have been something really beautiful had you given yourself more time.
But also, everyone comes into your life for a reason, to show you different things,
do believe that.
or to learn lessons. And so, in a weird way, like I don't regret any of the experiences and people that I've met. Some lessons I could have learned a little quicker,
Yeah.
but that was the path that I was on. And now I'm like, I learned my lesson. And there's some that I'm still learning the hard way, and that is okay.
My therapist always says this to me because I always have to do things my way. And she's like,
Always.
if you just listened to me the first time, do you see how much trouble you would have saved yourself?
You know what's
already
kind
talked
of
about this.
interesting is that, like, since I had a really unconventional relationship with my dad, I see it play out in some of the relationships that I try to have.
Can I ask, do you have daddy issues?
I have mommy and daddy issues. I've already talked about this.
Yeah.
But I think there's some things in certain behaviors that I let happen because I'm used to it in a way. And that is something I'm very aware of. I think because my dad wasn't always around, like, I don't think I need my partner to always be around. I'm very independent that way. But then I'm like, is that a little sad?
I think there's a big difference between needing them to be around and wanting them to be around.
For sure, I'll always want them to be around. It's just very interesting. And I think that's kind of a lesson that I'm going through right now, is like how that plays in my life at the moment. And I think I am so healed in so many ways and I'm so on track. But it's funny because my relationships, it's like that thing that I'm like, I never felt like I could figure out. I worked with a Reiki energy healer who I love, and she's helped me work through a lot of things in the past like 4 or 5 years. And I think I just really love Reiki for me. It's like a little reset for my brain when I need it. She was like, one of the things that your soul chose to work on in this lifetime is like relationships. I was like, motherfucker, what do you mean? It's like everything else is so great in my life and I can work through, but that one thing. And I think it sucks because I don't have my parents around. But then also it's liberating because I'm not dating people off of their standards.
Yeah.
And what they wanted from me out of my partner. So I get to decide who I actually really get to be with.
I grew up in a household where academics were like looked upon very highly. What's funny is everyone that I've dated seriously has been a creative. And some people might be like, well, you can't, they're not in academics. So how do you, and I like it so much better.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I learned so much about something that I don't understand.
I love surrounding myself with people who are not like me.
To me, I see it as like two sides, almost like left brain, right brain. And if I was with somebody just like me, we're concentrated to one side and I don't want that.
Yeah.
I feel like that limits me to like what I can learn.
But then some people really grow well with someone who is in their field and they get to have those conversations and they get to work together and collaborate and things like that. I do envy that. I think that's really special as well. I think I'll always be a cheerleader in like my friendships, my relationships. Like we're all a family and we're all a team. And yes, sometimes I think I'll say things that have maybe felt a little abrasive because I'm just kind of that tough love person because I grew up that way.
Yeah.
You know, I remember once my mom, I like was getting ready for an orchestra concert and I grabbed the curling iron by the hot end.
No.
Because I wasn't paying attention.
It's a canon event. It happens to fucking everybody. I swear to God. It's like
all,
indoctrination
literally.
into womanhood.
And I come downstairs, I'm crying, and she's like, well, that's what you get for not paying attention. And I was like, what? Like, you know, and
You
then
never did it again.
First of all, I never did. Fucking triple check now whenever I grab a curling iron.
I burned my arm doing glam for this like a week ago. So
my point is that she came to check on me afterwards, like after probably 10 minutes or something, and then comforted me and whatever. I learned a lesson that way.
Yeah.
Do I agree in that style of parenting? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think that was a very important lesson that I never forgot, and I'm talking about it today.
Yeah.
Tough love. Like, I'm a little bit of that person. So I think sometimes like people will mistake that as like I'm not on their team and on their side when I very much so am. I just show it in different ways.
Same.
And it's like receiving someone for who they are.
Yeah. I'm a tough love person too.
Yeah.
That's how I like my therapist is tough love. My friends are tough love. But in my relationship, I want to be coddled.
Like,
I do.
I'm a baby girl.
But yeah, I'm passenger princess.
Hello.
But everywhere else, I'm like tough love. I can't deal when people are not like straight up being like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
It's too much.
Because my parents, they were like, okay. You know, I remember I had called my dad. This was before my fiance passed away. So it was about something else. And it wasn't like horrible, but I was like having a hard time with it. And he goes, buck up.
I wonder if that's like an East Coast thing.
I need that a lot of the time. Buck up. Get it together. Not only could way worse be happening, but you're stronger than this.
I think it teaches like resilience. Shit's going to happen. You got to keep on pushing. At some point you want to deal with it for sure.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't have the luxury of dealing with it in the moment. I always say I get through it and then I deal with it after.
Yeah.
I don't have the time and the capacity to deal with it as it's happening with everything. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
walk through it, get to the other side.
and then we'll figure it out from there.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are some of your dating icks? Or just icks of men?
Where to
We
begin?
We gotta.
Where to begin? Okay, so here's the thing. 98% of men that I have ever talked to, pretty much everyone with the exception of someone I've been in a relationship with, has icked me out at some point. I get the ick really easily over really small things. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I wouldn't even say we were talking. We like had exchanged a few messages and we had moved to the texting phase.
Whoa.
And
Huge.
he was like, you should come over. We can watch a movie, but like you might get bored during the Hulu ads. And I was like, and the Hulu with ads gave me the fucking
what?
The Hulu with ads gave me the fucking ick. I was like, I don't think this is right for me. Like,
I don't think we're compatible.
It's so, and has nothing to do with the fact that he didn't want to pay for the ad. It just was something about the idea of sitting there watching a movie and then the ad comes on that I was like,
what
fucking gave me the ick.
year are we in? Hello?
Also, sometimes if a guy says a word a specific way, here's the thing I've noticed: women don't. I've never gotten the ick from a woman. Men, if they pronounce a word weird, don't like it.
There's just something about men.
Also, can I just say this? When a guy can't say the word vagina, how are you going to be the father of a child? Get out of my face with that. Grow up.
I'm a little, I'm like, if you can't handle certain things, I'm like, then what are we doing here? Because like ultimately, if I'm having your kids, guess who's going through it? Me.
If you are icked out by anything my body does, get out of my house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
No, that's a huge, that is a massive ick for me. There are so many.
You know what else?
So many.
I think in the past year, I can't unsee it, but men in flip-flops.
Yes.
Men in,
I don't want to see those toes.
I mean, I feel like at the beach, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Slides are fine. Slides are fine.
Maybe it's that.
I don't mind a slide. I mind like a thong flip-flop.
There's just something about...
Get that off your foot.
I saw a picture of a guy. He was in shorts and a flip-flop and he was somewhere that was like with concrete pavement. And I was like, what is going on?
There's a fine line between confidence and cockiness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love when a guy... Okay, so let me give you an example. My boyfriend loves a crop top. And I think it's... And I don't mean crop like just below the fucking titties.
A little more crop for a man's standard, I'd say.
A little more crop for a man's standard. And like, I think it's so hot. Like, I love that shit because it takes some confidence. You know what I mean?
And it's kind of his vibe.
It is his vibe.
Yeah.
Like, he wears necklaces.
But
I think it's so sexy. And I don't mean like chains. Like, he'll rock a choker.
Love that.
And I'm like, fuck.
He's got
so
style.
hot.
He's stylish.
He has style. I love somebody who's willing to take a risk because it feels true to themselves. I love when somebody is living completely in their like muchness, in being the truest version of themselves. I find that so attractive.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be you, boo. I think something that I've gotten better about as I've gotten older is I also speak about me being older as if I'm ancient. I
You
know
do.
that I'm not, but I just feel like I've really lived my 20s hard and fast, and I like experienced
Yeah,
a
I get that.
lot. To clarify, I don't
She's
think
not 90.
I'm not
She's
90.
not losing all her teeth like grandma.
Yeah, I acknowledge I'm still very young, and there's
Yes.
a lot of life ahead of me,
Yeah.
God willing.
Yes.
But I think as I've now entered this stage of my life, I'm very acutely aware of how people make me feel in terms of like my nervous system around them. I think some people in the past have made me feel really on edge, and I just kind of brushed it off.
Yeah.
It was such a roller coaster, and I should have picked up on that sooner. So if like I meet you and I don't feel grounded by your presence, or I don't feel calmness, I'm not really feeling like I
Yeah.
want to like pursue that.
If I start to feel sleepy around you,
Interesting.
that's how I know that I feel comfortable.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
I thought of one more.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. I hate when somebody judges me for being a dairy consumer. Judge me if you want. I will drink a fucking glass of milk. I love it. I once had a guy be like, that's disgusting. I only drink almond milk. I was like, get the fuck out of here with that
Like,
shit.
do you fucking scrub your toilet? Like,
I was like,
do-
ick.
like hello? Like,
I'm not yucking your yum. Fuck off.
Yeah, like, I really can't stand a guy who's messy.
Okay.
And I know a lot of them are, so it's hard for me.
Yeah, I was about to say that's tough to find.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm really grateful when I do find someone that like does clean up after themselves and has respect for it's a respect for your space.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Low key guys who are like really into video games.
There's definitely a fine line.
But also then you know they're not going out and they're like cheating on you, I guess. So
but
like
that's another thing, bare minimum. You have to be playing video games for me to know you're not cheating on me. Fuck that.
I know.
I
like,
can
I mean-
appreciate like a gamer to an extent. Like I said, I need attention. Do you not want to hang out with me?
I did date this guy once who was a resident, an orthopedic resident. That's stressful.
Yeah.
That's a surgeon too, you know what I mean? And so sometimes I'd be over and he'd be like playing Call of Duty and
Love Call of Duty.
and it was like a decompressing thing for like maybe an hour and then we'd move on. But I was like, do I really want to spend the rest of my life doing this? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
I feel like what's important for me is that they're able to put it down. Like, so my late fiance, he worked honestly like 13, 14 hours a day. His work schedule is just insane. And so when he finished work, he would play video games for like you said, like an hour because he had to clear his mind.
Yeah.
But he always knew like when to put it down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I never felt like our time got compromised because he couldn't stop playing video games. Like
Yeah.
that, I would be like, grow up.
Guys who are overly into sports, it feels like you're fangirling. I'm like, you don't know these people.
It's so true.
You don't know these people and I love that you're rooting for someone you don't know, but
Yeah.
like, why are you so attached to a team that's literally giving you like
Yeah, they don't know who you
you
are.
didn't play on the team?
No. I think the reason that doesn't ick me out was because I grew up with it.
Okay.
Like, my brother is a huge sports fan. My dad
makes
was a
sense.
huge
Yeah.
sports
Okay,
fan.
but
So when there's
Did they
like,
play sports and that's what the attachment?
yeah, my
Okay.
brother especially was a really, really good athlete. He also went to University of Oregon, which is like their cult for their football team is like
Wait, when
crazy.
guys like were athletes and they're like, "Oh, I would have made it, but I tore my ACL."
No, you wouldn't have.
No, boo.
No,
it's
you
okay.
fucking wouldn't have.
And
I'm
it's like-
sorry.
And if I were 5'8", I would be a supermodel.
If I was born today, my birthday would be today. Like, come on. No, you wouldn't have. Something that I want to say to people specifically who have like lost their partner or whatever is because I remember when it happened being like, I am resigned to the fact that I got to experience that love once in my life and I'm lucky for that and I will never be in love again and like that's fine. And feeling like that is completely normal. And also, if you want to fall in love again, you will.
Yeah, I think that's even if you haven't lost someone,
Yeah.
because a breakup can feel like
100%.
100%.
I was scrolling and I saw this girl on TikTok and her boyfriend had just passed away in a car accident. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like, you don't know me, but like, if there's anything I can do, just let me know. And she messaged me back and she was like, were you ever able to fall in love again? And I was like, I remember when it happened and I was like, I will never fall in love again. And now, and also if you don't want to, that's also totally normal. But if you're feeling from a breakup or losing someone, like you're never going to fall in love again. Like if you want to, you will.
But I also think too, like it applies to relationships. No two loves will ever look alike.
No.
And I think we
Don't expect them to. That's a big one. Do not
I think we
try
do
to
that.
replicate your relationships and go into it knowing that it's going to be different. And that's the beautiful thing about it. You don't want the same relationship that you
I think
had
even if
before.
you've lost someone or not, like I think
Yeah.
it does us such a disservice to the current person you're getting to know or dating
Yeah.
if you keep comparing them to someone else.
Completely.
You gotta not.
And if you want the relationship to look the same, like you're both going to end up unhappy.
Yeah. And there's like expectations that aren't going to be met. I think that's really beautiful.
I remember that was advice given to me was like, don't try to replicate the relationship. Don't compare the relationships. It was phenomenal advice because I went into it knowing
That it wouldn't look the same.
that it wouldn't look the same. And that was the whole beauty of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. Let's do our usual joy of the week.
Yes. Okay. You go first.
Bitch. I've been really into TikTok lives, but there's this one girl who does live jade selling, and I think they travel. So I think she's in Macau right now, and it must be a jade convention. Mm-hmm. She goes and she basically like personal shops for whoever like tunes into the live. It's a really like seamless process. Actually, they figured it out. So I've gotten a lot of jade pieces, and my packages finally came in, and that was really exciting. And so I made a little necklace that I'm really vibing with. So that was my joy of the week. And we're like besties. I like tuned into the live yesterday, and she's like, "Oh my god, Gia, hi." She's like, "Wait, look, I got my nails done," and she showed me the nails that she did, and I was like, "Wait, I love that design." And they like sent me a little like thank you. It was really thoughtful.
I love
probably
that.
because I spent a lot of money, but you know,
Period.
yeah. What about you?
I have 2 joys of the week.
Okay, there we go.
One was the chocolate cake we ordered last night. That brought me a lot of joy.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And number 2, I fucking love the rain. I do, and it never rains here. And it rained today, and I just love that. It like makes me so happy.
Well,
all right,
that was it, you guys.
thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.